and welcome to another edition of Flx Matters. It's a bright day here again in Felixstowe. The sun is shining on us, and today we've got Mr. Sunshine himself. We've got Danny Thorrington. Well, morning, Danny.
Good morning.
Welcome to Felixstowe TV. You're a very special character to us, and particularly as the Paralympics are on at the moment, which highlights what you do for the community. So, Danny, welcome. And we'll now talk about what you actually do. You've got a very sporty T-shirt on here, which will probably give people a clue as to what you do. So, Danny, what exactly do you do for a living to start with?
For a living, I'm an inclusive school games organiser, and basically I work alongside very closely with my colleague Ali Furlong. We're hosted at Cobblestone High School in Ipswich, and basically we try and promote and to deliver as much sport as we can to all children of school age, right from primary schools right through to secondary school and FE colleges. Yeah. And it's about trying to create opportunities for them in various sports and activities, and leading to competitions, and hopefully from then on. Yeah. My side of it is my passion. That's the inclusive side. My colleague does all the mainstream competitions, and I do the more inclusive stuff.
Well, what exactly does inclusive mean? You say the inclusive side.
The inclusive.
What does inclusive mean?
Well, it's so easy to get tied up in words and be politically correct and everything in this day and age, and people worry. Basically, all our competitions, we want to say that anybody, whatever ability or disability, can come along and access it.
I see.
So it's for everybody, you know, and we adapt the activities, sports, with the national governing bodies or with the local sports clubs, so that everybody can participate and having a very positive experience. Really.
So we're talking about able-bodied people. We're talking about disabled people, people who generally are hard at anything, who need a purpose.
I mean, to be inclusive, I mean, people automatically think people with a physical disability. You know, there's lots of young people out there who perhaps have got a physical disability or a learning difficulty. Some might have weight management difficulties. But a lot of the time it's just lack of confidence and self-esteem. Yeah. So it's about putting them in a comfort zone where they get used to something on a weekly basis within the clubs we provide at the different schools, called Discovery. And then hopefully that builds in the confidence for them to, and the passion for them to think, hang on a minute, I can do this. I love doing this. It's not a PE session. It's it's a fun time, and then hopefully leads to community.
I know exactly what you mean on that, because we do a similar thing here. We take people who, from all abilities, can come here and have a go at what we do. And if we just strike one flame of somebody said, that's good, I can do that, and then that feels, that's good. We've pointed somebody through life, actually. It will stick with them for the rest of their life.
Yeah. If you watch from the Paralympics, what's been so special, I mean, it's been amazing, hasn't it?
Yes.
And it still is.
Absolutely.
But when you see the interviews afterwards, so many of the young people, so many of the athletes will say that they had a start and they thank their PE teacher, or they thank a certain person who just had that little bit of hope in them.
Absolutely.
And encouragement. And that proves to us just how important our jobs are, and how you can make such a difference to someone's life. You know, you may think it's trivial, but to them it could be a real new pathway, to achieve the ultimate.
I watch the Olympics every night. I'm spellbound by it, I really do. These guys there, because you take someone with no legs, their upper strength must be phenomenal, mustn't it? Yeah. You see them in a wheelchair and they're pulling the old wheels around, and I think, goodness me, that's a lot of effort. Yeah. And they do thank, you're quite right, they do thank other people, but people who are quite humble, it might be, as you say, their PE teacher, might be somebody they just chanced upon. And so that's how you do it. So where did you start with the working with the charity side of things then? Where did it all come from that you wanted to do this in the first place?
Really changed my life was sort of between 2002 and 2004, really. My dear brother-in-law was diagnosed with motor neurons disease.
Oh, my goodness,
And it was a terrible 2.5 years when he was diagnosed. And he went from the A-frame to the manual wheelchair to the power wheelchair. A passionate family man and loved his sport. As time progressed on, obviously the passion for his family was still there and the sport, but he couldn't access the sport as he had done in the past, or so I thought.
Yes.
I was very naive at the time.
Yes.
So he enjoyed his Sky Sport, and we took him speedway and things like that. And it wasn't until afterwards, really, and I thought, what else was out there for anybody with a disability, particularly those in a wheelchair.
Yes,
and to cut a long story short, after unfortunately he passed away in 2004, the local St Elizabeth Hospice were fantastic.
Oh, right, yes.
For caring for him. He was in there the last 54 days, I think, and
Right.
they were amazing, and they still are amazing to
They
our
are
family.
amazing
And we
people.
wanted to do something back, so I volunteered. I went along to one of their evenings, and I said, my wife said, don't sort of like put yourself forward for, for something too grand. I just want to raise a bit of money for them.
Yeah.
But I come away thinking, I'd love to trek the Lesser Himalayas. And
Right,
a year
okay.
later, so I did. And we had a year of fundraising prior to it to raise some money. I was working at Suffolk College at the time in construction, and 17 of my colleagues were all peroxide blonde hair, eyebrows a lot, wax legs, phenomenal. And we raised £10,000 over the year.
For the expenses to get to the...
Yes, I think it was about 1,500 or something for the expenses, and then the rest went to the hospice, you know.
Right, yes.
We had to raise a certain amount to cover costs, obviously,
Yes.
but then the rest, I think it was near on £10,000.
Wow.
And there were some fantastic people from Felixstowe actually who came along. There was about 45 of us went for 10 days, which was amazing.
Gosh. Not what, just from here, this region?
In the local area, yeah. Well, I think there was some from St Edmundbury as well. I think it was half a group of
that's
each,
close.
and we came together.
Yeah, that's close.
So, which was, quite an emotional time being there. It wasn't so much the physical effort at the time; that was more the emotional side. Whereas others struggled with the physical side, but not so much the emotional. But we all had our own reasons for being there.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
And I came away, and then sort of like I had a little bit of a lull with obviously losing my brother-in-law and everything, and had a little bit of depression.
And yourself?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Just sort of crashed a little bit.
Yeah.
And had to give up my teaching for a little while and things. I was off work, and a local advert came in the paper in Ipswich from the Orwell Panthers Athletics Club, Anne Negus, and I rang up, took the courage to ring, and she said basically that, well, really they were looking for athletes rather than volunteers, but if I was really serious, go along in 3 weeks' time after the Christmas period was over. And I stuck to those words, and I went along, and I've got them to thank really that I got my depression, because the first night I went along there, the love and the sincerity of those young people, for you going along to give your time was just, you can't put it into words really.
No.
And I volunteered for them for about 5 years. They got me through my coaching awards in athletics, and I became the vice chairman. And I'm still very, passionate about it. I haven't been able to go just recently because I've had other commitments. But they really got me out of my depression.
Wow,
and
fantastic.
from then on, got local work through my volunteering.
These organisations, like the one you just said, what was it again?
Orwell Panthers Athletic Club.
Orwell Panthers Athletic Club, right? They're full of unsung heroes, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
Eh?
Yeah.
And I've had something to do with them over the last few years. I've sort of been on the glitch of it,
Right.
but you feel so humbled.
Yeah.
By the amount of effort and the children give back, just in being pleased and the love that they give back for what people are actually doing. And I've seen that and I've felt it, and it's phenomenal, isn't it?
I really do urge people to, if they want to do something, just don't be afraid of helping at a club where youngsters with disabilities are there. A lot of people are just, think they can't do it or they don't know enough. Just go along, and if you've got a passion for it, there's nothing beats it. There really isn't.
Yeah.
No.
So after you did your stint with the athletics club, where'd you go from there?
From there on, I managed to get a job through my volunteering with Suffolk Sport and became the Suffolk Athletics Development Officer.
Suffolk Sport, is that a school thing, or
it's more community based. Yeah, it's a council thing. It's right across the county.
Oh right, so it's run by the county council, or sponsored, or featured?
Yes, through Sport England and everything like that. Each county has a county sports partnership.
Absolutely.
So I worked for them part time and thoroughly enjoyed it. I was hosted at Ipswich Borough Council at the time, and worked with some really special people from Team Ipswich. Then a job came up there to be the Ipswich Sports Development Officer, part-time again, but a permanent contract.
Yes.
So I switched over to that and done multi-sports across Ipswich, which I thoroughly enjoyed, working with the community. I just love being with people. I must admit, I was a little bit biased towards any event. I always wanted to include the inclusive side of things and made sure that, that was always fully inclusive as much as we possibly could.
Absolutely.
And that was my passion. And then from there, I went back to Suffolk New College and taught there in construction. I taught special needs classes some of the week, and that was the highlight of my week.
Well, you're teaching special needs people to be builders,
to be painters and decorators, to be precise. The old rollers and brushes come out, and we adapted the tools to suit the individuals. And lots of these young people are still with us now at the community clubs doing bocce and different things. It's lovely. Got true friends there, for life.
Well, we do need our building painted if you.
I'm sure.
If you want to
as long as you don't paint your dust sheets, we'll be all right. But so that was fantastic. One of the things while I was at the college was that we always noticed that in the mornings the young people were far easier to manage and more interested in learning than they were in the afternoons. And that was across the board. But that was we found out it was purely lunchtimes. They wound each other up. There was nothing to do. So I done a little questionnaire for them and said, if I could get some sport and activities going on at lunchtimes, would you be interested? And then they all come back, yeah. So we managed to get a little bit of funding, and we tried a pilot scheme, and it was it was turned down the first time because it was too costly. Because one thing people don't realise when you are working with young people or people with disabilities and you're trying to put on events, there is more cost often, particularly for the travelling, to get people to and from. So it was too much per head, and we were turned down. So what we done, we partnered up with Beacon Hill Special School. They were able to come along as well. That meant there was double the amount of people, coming along and having that great experience. And that was such a success. We managed to get funding for 2 6-week projects. And we tried a multitude of sports with local community clubs. They'd come along to the sports centre. They'd done archery and goalball and bocce and all these different things. And that was amazing. And we did get acknowledged for that at the Team Ipswich and Suffolk Sport Awards, which was wonderful.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So I then left the college. And we got allotments at the college.
Allotments?
So we've got to keep people fit. There's all sorts of things, Everything can be accessible if someone's got a passion to put a little bit of time into to give it a bit of thought and to do it. Anybody can make such a difference.
With the athletics and the bits and pieces you were doing in the sports side of things, how do you get on with health and safety or special needs at the athletic centres, like the sports centres that you use?
Right.
How do you get on with adaptation for people with special needs?
Okay.
Do you just fit in? Is the health and safety the same for able-bodied as it is for disabled people?
Well, obviously there's more to think about, but to be honest now, with all the new regulations and everything around disability, anybody who provides a venue or anything anyway should have their own risk assessment, and health and safety should all be sorted. However, in my job role with the schools, we have to still go around and visit the sites and make sure that everything's in place. We do our own risk assessments. The schools have to do their own, the clubs have to do their own. There is a lot of paperwork, which is another reason why if there's anybody out there who's not sporty but would love to be part of something, we're always looking for admin people to be able to help us sort things like that out.
But this is it. You don't have to be the top of your trade to be a volunteer, do you?
You just need passion.
You do.
Yeah, that's all you need.
You just need the satisfaction you get from it is worth much more than the effort you put in.
So we had two vegetable plots up at Spring Road in Ipswich.
Believe that.
And we had fantastic times up there. They painted the sheds, and we were in partnership with another group up there who weren't using it so much or were finding it difficult. And they painted sheds. We had conker competitions because there was conkers up there. We had scarecrow competitions and a real communal thing. They were all digging and and got the crops, which was marvellous. And eventually I left there, and I wanted to do more for disability, but there was nothing at the time. So I went back to painting and decorating for a little while. And a month later, I got a phone call from Mr. Rob Terry from Cobbleston High School. He was the partnership development manager at the time. And he said, "Is it true you've left the college? Would you be interested in doing something similar to what you've done at the college with people with disabilities in the schools?" And that was 2 3/4 years ago now. Discovery was born, the project I work for now, and we haven't looked back.
So you're still at Cobbleston,
I certainly am,
Yeah, so chance shone on you once again. You're obviously made to do this, aren't you? You know.
Well, I just can't believe how my life's changed really in such a short amount of time, really, and doing something I love.
You must get more passion out of that than you do out of a paint pot and a roller.
yeah, I think so.
I do.
I think there's a little bit more stress with this job than before because that's quite relaxing with the old paintbrush. But now I do get a lot from it, and I continue with my volunteering now because with my work, the idea is that we provide new opportunities and build confidence in these young people.
Yes.
And build this group where they feel comfortable within themselves. But we like to use local community clubs where there's a pathway. It's no good offering them something once and they love it and then there's nothing.
Then there's nothing, yeah,
so
absolutely.
We've been very lucky to work with East Anglian Sailing Trust.
Yes.
When I first went to them, they were, yes, certainly we'll give you a go, you know, and we went along. We're talking 20, 25 volunteers on a session who turn up and give their time to give these young people a chance to try sailing. And it was phenomenal. And we've done it for the last 3 years now. We do about 6 sessions a year. These young people get the opportunity to try it, and then they can then come along with their families. Like on a Saturday they do sessions, Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights. So there's lots of opportunities there. So that's been a real success. And Bill at the end, Bill Smith, who does most of the work. Oh, I can't say most of the work. I'll get shot, but a lot of behind the scenes work. He at the end I said, I can't thank you enough. How can we thank you? And he said, your time. And 3 years later, I've been volunteering for him now. It's not as much as I'd like because I have to spread myself out a little bit. But they got me through my awards, and I go on a Tuesday night when I can. And it's after a hard day's work, and you think I could really just flump in the chair. You go there and get in the water, and you're with those people of all ages, people who's had strokes and all sorts of disabilities and reasons for why they can't sail themselves now. They can be part of something and still do part of the sailing. It's just phenomenal. It's just relaxing and lovely.
Well, that's where I met you, wasn't it?
That's
because the East people, that's East Anglian Sailing Trust, isn't it?
That is, yes.
Down at Levington Marina, they were hosting the Paralympic Flame for an hour or so, were they not? And it was a bit emotional in itself, wasn't it? It was brought into the. We had a little area there, didn't we, by the East Building. It was brought in by
Kevin Curtis.
That's it, Kevin Curtis, who is, I think he was. He's something to do with East, isn't he? He's the chairman. Of East, isn't he?
And Paralympic sailor himself, gold medalist in Atlanta.
He was, yes, that's right. Him and his brother, was it?
I don't know.
I think there was 2 of them. I did an interview. Anyway, you can see the Paralympic Flame at Levington. That's on the website. So give that a look. Give that a look. It's well worth it.
Yes,
that was a good morning.
That was
very good. So anyway, Danny, you organise all these things now for the disabled people, and you've mentioned sailing, and also you said that you like to promote sport, but you must have a pathway. So here in Sleepy, Suffolk, what have you partnered with? You've got sailing. How about and athletics you've talked about?
Yes.
What about swimming?
Yes.
Riding?
Yes.
Are there other organisations that are just for disabled people that you can?
Yes. Some are just for disabled people, but more and more clubs are just becoming more inclusive. So it's
so sport for all. In some of these places,
that's what we because we. Some people like it separated, and others like to be fully inclusive. So whatever suits them and whatever they think they can do it the best way. But swimming. We do a festival at Crown Pools every year, which is a huge success.
Yes.
And we partner up with Ipswich Disability Swim Club, part of Team Ipswich Swim Club. Yeah. And hopefully they move on to that. So we've got the swimming, boccia. I don't know if you've been watching any of the boccia on telly. It's sort of like a slightly different French balls with the red and blue leather balls.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, well, we have a club which runs at Gainsborough Sports Centre every Monday through Dear Cathy Churchyard from Thomas Wolsey School runs that.
Right.
I set it up with her when I was with Team Ipswich, and I kept it going with Cathy for many years, and she's carried it on now. And they're called the Ipswich Jacks. And anybody with a physical disability can go along there on a Monday evening. I do the Boccia Barmy Army on a Thursday at Brantford Road Methodist Church, and it's fantastic. That's from 4:30. That's from 4 till 5:30.
How many people do you have to turn up to the Boccia Barmy Army?
The Barmy Army, we usually get about 9 to 12 players. Yeah. The majority are wheelchair users or use frames, but phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. We've got national players in there. Yeah. We've got Evie and Jake Edwards. Evie's a national player, and Jake is coming on well, oozing in confidence, which is just fantastic to see. Yes. And we've got Holly and Jared, and the thing about the boccia side, I don't know if you know much about it, but that really is accessible to everybody. Yeah. Because whether you're visually impaired, whether you haven't got the propulsion to throw the ball, we have chutes where they can roll it down, they can hold it in the chin, and then roll it down the chute, and you say left or right with their eyes, and
fantastic!
You can kick it. You can. It's fantastic sport. Yeah, very skillful. Yeah. So we've got the boccia. We do wheelchair basketball. Unfortunately, we haven't got a club in Ipswich at the moment, but there's one at Bury, St Edmunds, called the Bury Bombers with Jill Anderson.
That's a mile away, is it?
And she comes along and supports us. Always a big hit with the youngsters to get in the wheelchairs and try it out. Because you don't have to be a wheelchair user to do that. We have wheelchair users do it, but then we can have able-bodied people also, part of the team. They do a point system. Yes. Like they do for the swimming. About how able, what disabilities you have. Yeah. Other sports, riding for the disabled at Sutton. So another fantastic organisation run by volunteers. Yeah. We have fantastic sessions out there. It's phenomenal. And one of the things with that in particular is we had some young children from primary schools come along with physical disabilities, and they weren't sure if horse riding would be ideal for them. Yes. When they went to their physiotherapists and their doctors, because obviously, like you said about the health and safety, we have to check, and 9 times out of 10 they've come back and actually said it's very good for the hips. And now that these young girls are going along after just that one introduction, they're going along on Saturdays every week with their family, and they do that event, and that's just marvellous. Absolutely. It's making a difference to their lives and their families' lives to see that their youngsters are achieving and doing something they love and passionate about.
So we're very local here to Felixstowe. We're on a peninsula here, so we've got not much around us. But do you do things here in Felixstowe? Is there stuff here in Felixstowe?
Up until the summer holidays, we did have a boccia club at Brackenbury Sports Centre run by Joe and Lucy, 2 of our coaches who are phenomenal, who go around the Discovery clubs. We had about 5 or 6 turn up for that on a Monday evening. There is a Monday afternoon session at Brackenbury where they do boccia as well for the community. We do some of the work with the residential homes. I think there's some boccia going on around Felixstowe as well, which is fantastic. I think Suffolk County Council are leading on that. Other things in Felixstowe. We work obviously with Felixstowe Academy. They've got Discovery clubs.
Have they?
Yeah. So we go into Deben and to Orwell, and very well received. We're getting about 30 at each club. And I've only just been told yesterday that the new year 7s, they've got 26 already raring to go from their department there who want to be a discoverer. So we've got to look at doing more sessions. So I mean, there's a real demand out there, and Discovery's really getting about. So that's phenomenal.
Right. Well, Danny, you're doing a marvellous job. Everybody, every charity, every organisation, no matter what it is, needs funding. It's part of life, isn't it? Yeah. How can people? What would people be able to give you? Besides money, would you take other things that people might have? That would help?
Yeah. Well, I'd certainly urge. I mean, it's manpower often is the biggest.
Yeah, just people's time. Yeah, people's
time is huge. So any community club out there, I urge you to get in touch with yourselves so that they can promote themselves on here. Could do great things, but also get in touch with me if they think that they could perhaps offer something or would like to open their doors for our discoverers to come along for a taster. That would be the greatest thing they could possibly do. Right. Where there's this pathway, and they're really committed about making a difference and being more inclusive. Okay, we're not talking about just being a disability club. We're talking about just opening the doors and being more inclusive, being more comfortable with allowing more people in with whatever barrier they face, whatever disability. Yes. That would be the main thing. Obviously, equipment. Often there's things lining cupboards and garages and things like that.
Absolutely.
Or old school gyms and things like that where that might not be used much now. It's always good to ask. And I can certainly point you in the right direction for community clubs where that could perhaps be used now. So we're always looking for that. Yes. Obviously, funding pots. Anybody knows of any little funding pots of groups who raise money who think they'd like to, give it to a good cause? Then obviously that would be great. That's endless, really.
Well, it is. That is so, Danny, how can we get in touch with you?
Right.
So okay, I've got a pot of gold. I want to give it to you. How can I get a hold of you in normal working days?
In normal working days, if you've got a pot of gold, I'd be knocking on your door within minutes. You wouldn't have to worry about finding. No, my email address is at Cobblestone. Which shall I tell you it now?
Yes, please, if you would. Yeah,
it's D Thorrington. So it's DTHORRINGTON at cobblestone.suffolk.sch.uk.
Right.
And please drop us an email, and I'd certainly return.
Okay. Well, we will put that up on our website when we put your video up, which will be later today. That will be included on the website, and of course you can always get in touch with us here at Felix TV, and we'll pass it on to you.
Lovely,
thank you. I know, going back to the yeast thing, I know that on the I've lost my piece of paper. On the 20th of this month is the last piece for this season, isn't it?
That is for the schools,
yeah. Well, I'm hoping to come down and follow you around for a day, and if that's okay with you and okay with East, which I will clear before then, and everyone here will then be able to have a follow-up on this conversation, and we'll go down to Levington, and we'll go across, I believe, Landguard's nature reserve down there as well.
That's right, Levington Lagoon. We'll go around there.
And we will follow you up and see what you're going. Well, sadly, we've come to the end of our time. It goes quite quickly, doesn't it?
Quickly,
But we've covered a lot of ground, and I hope people will be able to take something from this. You obviously have a lot of passion for what you do, and if we can impart some of that into our viewer, then certainly. That would be absolutely fantastic. So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Danny, for turning up and being so passionate about what you do. And we will see you all again tomorrow with another show. If today is not Friday, no, it's we will see you tomorrow with another show. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.